So this is Kachina woman in front of us here. You may notice that her head is a slightly different color stone. It is limestone. And the rest of her body is the sandstone, the red sandstone. I'm going to give you a little Cliff Note version of the geology here. So as we come around here, you'll notice that the red rock is horizontally striated. As you come over here in the distance, you'll notice that we have more sandstone, more beige, but it's vertical. So two different kinds of sandstone, but it got here in two entirely different ways. So what they say happened started around 350 million years ago, where this part of the continent alternated between oceans and desert and oceans and desert. Every time an ocean came and left, it left its sand and its sediment behind. Those are the red rock layers. It would become a desert for millions of years. And then another ocean would come and the weight of the water would pound that now desert into the earth. So ocean, desert, millions of years in the making, but each new ocean would pound that now desert down so that all the red rock was buried. It was never up like this for exposure. One time we were under an inland sea, and that inland sea had a lot of fish and shells and things like that, so it's calcium. So when that little inland sea left us, it left a layer of limestone. And it's really not that easy to see from this distance, but it's possible that you can see it kind of towards the top middle of this red rock here. It's tricky to see from here. But we have a layer of limestone that goes all the way around Sedona. And also remember, Kachina woman's head is limestone. So all this water deposit is buried under the earth, not up like this. The next thing they say happened was wind brought sand across the continent from as far away as Montana and Canada. So all the white tops that you see in Sedona are sand dunes. And they said they were gigantic sand dunes. And I'm thinking, what do you mean they were gigantic sand dunes? They're still pretty gigantic. So how big much they have been is beyond me. But anyway, sand dunes were now sitting on top of the earth and all the red rock is buried. The sand dunes came in, I think they said, with winds up to 250 to 500 miles an hour. So the next thing that happened was continental collision. California was out there, but it wasn't connected to us yet, and it was getting lonely. And it hit the continent, and when it didn't hit directly, it slid underneath. And as it slid underneath, it knocked up 135,000 square miles of rock, 135,000 miles of continent rather, and it's what we call the Colorado Plateau. That's why Phoenix is at 1,000 feet in elevation from the ocean. Sedona and at the downtown area, the main roads at 4,500 feet in elevation, and Flagstaff is up on the rims, which is 7,500 feet in elevation. You might see Enchantment Resort down there in the ground. So this whole uplift, now all the red rock is exposed. And it happened really quickly. They say it happened at 2 inches a year. For me, that's really slow. But every geologist that I've told this to was like, wow, that's really fast. So I guess it happened really quickly. So it brought all these rocks up really quickly. And then it was just the exposure to basic wind, rain, snow, ice, and vegetation that created all these different shapes. Occasionally a river came through here, but nothing like the Colorado River that created the Grand Canyon. And remember, I talked about the fact that under the compression of all the red rock formations were crystalline formations, the quartz crystal. And that's everywhere we are in Sedona. For all I know, I'm standing on a bunch right now. But again, it's not the kind of crystal you can put on your counter, but it's embedded in the rocks. And there's certain places in Sedona where the erosion has brought that rock all the way down that you can see certain layers. You can see the layers of crystalline. It's patches of crystalline. It looks like quartz crystal, because it is. So just wind, rain, snow, and vegetation. And of course sandstone is porous, so the seeds get stuck in the sandstone and the water can go in there too, and you got vegetation. Everything, everywhere that you're seeing greenery, it's on rock. And in some places in Sedona, when you are hiking, you are literally kicking around sand like a beach. It's beach sand. It's pretty cool. Isn't that pretty? So let's just take a second more here and take a look at Kachina Woman, and then I will say good night or goodbye for now. Thank you and be well.